Social influence techniques rely on operating largely outside of awareness. In other words, people tend to react to them automatically without being aware or fully aware of their influence. Thus, once you learn about these, you have a distinct advantage. You're generally much better at identifying them and thus less likely to be under their influence. Automaticity is the term for how people often think mindlessly and as a result often act automatically without fully evaluating the consequences of a request. We are busy and simply don't have the time or resources to carefully think about everything we do. Thus, much of the day we respond mindlessly and automatically, such as when people say good morning to us. Ellen Langer conducted an interesting study that we're going to call the copy machine study to demonstrate automaticity and mindlessness. First, she had a confederate. Confederate is someone who works for the researcher, right? So first, she had a confederate approach a long line of people who were waiting to use a high-traffic copy machine and ask for permission to cut first in line. The confederate said, "Excuse me, I have 5 copies to make. May I use the copy machine?" Providing no further information. This established the baseline rate. Not surprisingly, people only complied about 60% of the time. So that's our baseline, okay? Next, Langer wanted to see to what extent compliance would change when a real logical reason was added versus a simple because heuristic. A because heuristic is a phrase which sounds like it's giving a reason because it begins with the word because, even though it does not at all. And this is where this gets interesting. Sometimes the confederate added a real reason, because I'm in a rush, which resulted in a significant increase, that of 90-some% compliance. At other times, the confederate added a simple because heuristic, because I need to make copies, which of course isn't a reason at all, but still it resulted in the same increased rate of 90-some% compliance. People assume that because the word because began the phrase, that a reason followed it. Again, this is called the because heuristic. Now, do you recall how many copies the confederate said he needed to make? That was 5. And the reason I ask you this is that this changed and the simple because heuristic did not work when the confederate Nick said, I have 25 copies to make instead of 5. This is a good review question from our attitudes lecture. This implies that 25 pages prompted what kind of processing on the part of participants in this study? Pause the video and see if you can remember. Now, if you said central or slow, you are correct. And 5 pages prompted what kind? And if you said peripheral or fast, you are correct. These 2 kinds of processing came from what 2 specific models? Do you remember? And the answer is the elaboration likelihood model and the fast and slow thinking model. Here's your last review question. These are both examples of what kind of models? And the answer is dual processing models. So people were more likely to elaborate or think more slowly and carefully on the reasonableness of the confederate's request when 25 pages were involved.